and gentlemen, today's video we are learning about Tinaranian history, and I just want to say this is a really interesting part of history. I hope you guys would enjoy, and let's get into today's video. Tinaranian's origin was found around the basically Tinaranian's origin and how they were found. They were found or discovered during the year 2020. We don't know exactly which month or date, but they were found during 2020. They were involved during the Great Armenian Civil War because they were part of the Tinaranian Islands, and they were the most powerful army out of the whole islands, and became an ally to Greentopia, Bluetopia, and Tasmania during the Great Armenian Civil War. Tinarania's government, since their existence, was communism and still is to this day. The first leader of the country was Tsar Reeftalk. Over the years, Part 1. They were involved to help the new countries in Tenyo to negotiate and avoid a war during the Negotiation War. After the Negotiation War, they were defending their country from the Galactic forces during the Second Invasion. The first time the Tinaranians started a war was during the Second World War Plastic, which to the Tinaranians was known as the Tinaranian Invasion. Reeftalk's achievement during this war was that he reached the Greenlandian border and destroyed it. Reeftalk was then later killed on February 14, 2021 when he surrendered in the end of the war. The next leader of Tinarania would be Saruslavek. After Reeftalk's death, the people of Tinarania made a city after him, known as Riftengrad. Tinarania over the years, Part 2. After a few months after the last war, after the last war, they started to be isolated. I need to make a correct that. Started to be isolated from any other affairs until October 10th, 2021, when they were ordered to help Tara win the civil war in Tinarania. In Tanaria, not Tinarania. After the Tinarian Civil War, Ruslavek this time wanted to fight for equality for communist nations because he saw that the democratic countries were growing faster than the communist ones, which gave them the fear of being overthrown of communism, which began to make his new campaign, which was the fight for equality, which was called the Equality War, which began on October 27, 2021. Ruslavek's achievement during this war was that he was the first one to get beyond the Greenlandian border and flank the Greenlandian army on multiple fronts during his invasion. He also issued the agreement and the first person to make alliances with democratic forces and shared equally amongst each other. Ruslavek, after the war, became an ally to Greenland and head of the communist nations during the conference with the MIPR Council. Ruslavek also made a statue of himself in the city of Riftengrad for people to remember him as a great leader and ruler during his lifetime before he dies. He died on Christmas Day of 2021 by kidney failure, and his second in the command, Nikolai Razvolki, would be the new Tsar of Tinarania. Oops, excuse me, guys. Tinarania over the years, Part 3. A month and a few days after Nikolai was elected leader of Tinarania, he then started to declare war on all nations in the world. In his mind, he wanted to finish what Reeftalk started and make it his accomplishment. This war would be known as the Communist Invasion. The main thing that was different than most of the Tsars before him is that once he invaded or conquered a nation, he would force the nation that he captured to join his army. His accomplishment was that he was the first one to almost conquer Greenland during the war. His leadership came to an end on January 25, 2021. He was pulled out of his office and killed by his own people. His head was a warning display to all leaders that dictators and cruel men didn't have a place to rule in the world. The next leader of Tinarania, also guys, on January 25th, after when Nikolai was killed, the war ended because he was killed, and no one wanted to be forced to do anything against their own will anymore. So they overthrew him. It's basically what just happened. Anyway, the next leader of Tinarania would be no other than General Kiev. Kiev followed Rushlevek's code and has been friends with all democratic countries. And this is over the years, part 4. Kiev, while in his rule, married a woman by the name of Anna Romanov Magarich. Their wedding was set on March 31st, 2022. Kiev was the first Tsar in a long time to be married and would soon have a son to take his place when the time comes. Ever since Kiev took the throne, things have been well at first, but during Kiev's reign there was one thing that he wanted, and that was power and an empire. Since the Tinarania now also guys, this is Tinarania over the years, part 5. Just want to let you guys know context. Since Tinarania was the most powerful and represented the communist nations, Kiev wanted the other countries that are communist to be under his leadership, so he made alliances with them. It worked pretty well at first, but then Kiev wanted to create a good economy for his country, so he created a new training system that was the opposite of Kandahar's. It was called the CAC, which stands for Communist Allied Corporation. How this works is, every communist country that made trade with other countries would have to give half of their money to Tinarania, and in return they would receive half of Tinarania's money. The trade system worked for a few months until Tinarania was involved in the Morlandian War. This war was about Morlan and Kondas gaining their independence from Basaja in Bulgaria and Tinarania. And Tinarania was involved as support for the two countries and their protector from Greenland. Tinarania had lost a huge amount of money during the war and didn't have enough to pay his allies back, so he kept on taking money from his allies, and by the time he had enough, he didn't pay his allies, back, which resulted most of the countries to leave the system, and only Morlant was left to be loyal to Kiev. After Kiev lost his allies, he wanted to claim more territory to be under his control, and that was when he was involved on the rebel side of the Bamayan Civil War. He had made a deal with the senator of Bamaya that if his side won, along with his army's help, then they must contribute to him and his empire. But when Roshentsky, leader of the Democratic Army, won, Tinarania was ordered to give the senator up in order to be spared for crimes which they did. But Kiev was angered that he lost Bamaya. His next plan began on September 27, 2022. He made a speech stating that he was going to invade Golan and Ukraine. This speech was announced to the public and would soon result in an end to Kiev's rule. The speech that Kiev gave began to start a war in Tenya, which was called the Imperial War, which began on September 28, 2022 and ended on October 7, 2022. Kiev's main plan was to not only conquer Golan and Ukraine, but he also wanted to reclaim the territory he once had before. Even though his plan was great from the beginning, the end of the war resulted in Kiev surrendering and placed under arrest by the AMIPR Council. Tinarania over the years, part 6. The AMIPR Council decided the fate for Kiev and his country after the war was over. Kiev would have to choose between placed on death row or have to be deposed from his position as ruler and place someone in his family to take the throne. Kiev decided to give up his position of ruler, but there was a problem. His son, Alexander, was only a year old, and he was too young to rule the throne. So he decided to let his brother-in-law, Alexei Magarich, to rule. And he also put a statement saying that if Alexei has been deceased, then his wife would be the next ruler until Alexander was eligible enough to rule the bloodline. And guys, I do have an actual document of the actual treaty, or basically the actual contract for his deposition. It's called the Bill of Deposition, as you can see here. It was made on October 11th, 2022. And this is what the Bill of Deposition says in the beginning. In order for the nations to remain at peace, the leader of Tinaranian must be deposed from his leadership and give it to someone that is either a second-in-command, family member, or elected official. You have these choices to choose from, and once you select your choice, write your statement below. And basically, Sarkiev gave his deposition of power to Alexei Magarich, which is his brother-in-law, and his statement was, quote, I have chosen my brother-in-law, Alexei Magarich, to rule my country while I pay for my crimes. My wife Anastasia and son Alexander will be under Alexei's care until my son is eligible to rule. If anything happens to Alexei, my wife would rule. And if anything happens to my wife, and Alexei's the only one and my son Alexander is the only one that's left, then my son would be able to rule at the age of 12. And the signatures are at the bottom. The judge was President Leon Greenland, which is his signature right here. And this is Sarakiev's signature right here. Stay tuned for afterwards, because I'm going to be making an announcement. Okay guys, so announcements are, this Saturday I'm going to be posting a video on Wednesday tomorrow about the Melanesian War, and I'm going to be breaking it down to 3 different parts: the cause, the effect, and the aftermath. And we're going to go into detail of that war and what happened, what resulted in the war, and basically every event that happened during the war. Also guys, Saturday I'm going to be on another break again because I'm going to be on a trip, and I'm going to be gone until Sunday. And from Saturday to Sunday I'm not posting any videos because I'm going to be on a trip. But there will be a video tomorrow posted before I leave. If I don't manage to make it and make a full video of it, then I'm going to have to make it next week when I come back. And also next Saturday, depending on plans and everything, I'm probably going to take another break and spend time with my family and stuff like that. So I know it's been a while since I posted. So far you guys are starting to like my videos, and I just wanted to say thank you guys. I wish you luck. You guys stay good in school, don't fail, make your path successful and easier for yourself and for others, and doesn't hurt to have a little kindness in the world once in a while. And speaking of which, guys, if you want me to do reaction videos, I can do so, and I will post them on YouTube. But that will be a different day. So if you really want me to do that, like, comment, subscribe. Also comment down below which songs, videos, shorts, whatever you want me to react to, I will react to it. It can even be memes. And as long as they're not cringy or too inappropriate to where I have to censor or edit bleeps and everything, then that's fine. So, bye guys.